Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Delinquents podcast, where we have the most handsome little boys in the world.
Stop.
Starting with our first little boy, we got Amrit. Amrit the
Hello.
elephant.
I missed
Or
last time.
Is it true that you're an elephant?
In certain places, yes.
Oh,
There's a trunk. There's a trunk.
There's a trunk
oh,
somewhere on there, and
sheesh.
I'm gonna find it.
As the kids would say, sheesh, sheesh. And we're also joined today by Gaston, aka Gaston Rose, aka Long Schlong McGee.
Howdy,
the
howdy,
boy
howdy.
with the legend.
Good to be back.
And we're talking about some kaiju.
Mhm.
And not just any kaiju, but the king of kaiju.
My penis. We're talking about Godzilla.
Well, that
about
is what
God-
I nicknamed my penis, so we're still not wrong.
Mhm.
We're talking about Godzilla versus Kong, Kong versus Godzilla. We're talking about the two big boys, the movie that came out, the re-release, I guess you would say, the remaster, the
Remastered.
it is. It's just reimagined. All right.
Oh God.
And
first one.
we are so actually I went online, and so to give everyone a little bit of a backstory for me, when we had talks about this and I had planned out some podcasts for the next few months and such. One of the things that we talked about was doing a Godzilla podcast, and we were going to do one before the movie because we were going to start up the podcast again, but we just didn't get around to it. So we're like, okay, well then we'll just do one after the movie instead of doing both. So before I watched some videos on like Watch Mojo. It's like top 10 Godzillas or
Easter
like
eggs or Godzilla
Yeah,
forms.
Number
or
right,
15.
right. So I learned a
Burger
lot
King
about.
Godzilla foot lettuce.
Oh God. Many
I
of
learned
you
a-
thought that having a kaiju.
You can grow a kaiju in your basement
Oh God.
with the new Chia Pet Kaiju.
Oh God.
But I was trying to think of a joke, but I couldn't think of anything. That's why I
It's
was
alright.
quiet. But no, I
Quite
would
alright.
like watch these videos on like different how Godzilla changed in height and like shape and such, and like how his dorsal fins changed.
Oh, yeah.
I'm using big
His
words because I watched the
origin-
videos.
Oh, dude, these dorsal
His
fins look so
origin
fucking lit.
changes.
Yeah,
Dude, they do look amazing in that one, dude. Like I was so coming from some guy who loved the rubber suits. This is all I've ever wanted. This is all I ever imagined in my brain when like the movie was over with, and I'm thinking like I love Godzilla. I'm not thinking of the stupid cheesy suit. I was thinking of some crazy monster in my imagination, and they brought him to life with that. It's
right.
just, mwah.
But so I watched a little bit, but I did watch it obviously wasn't the full movie, but I watched the original Kong versus Godzilla fight on Mount Fuji.
Oh
Mhm.
shit! That is the stupidest choreographed fight I've ever seen.
But hey, look, that's the classic Kong versus Godzilla right there, man. I was really confused. I was like he's being carried in by balloons.
And they drop his ass, and he falls onto Godzilla. Like they were just like, "Hey, surprise!" Like,
And then he has a thing for grabbing his tail every 5
oh
seconds.
yeah, he does. And then, not to
Oh.
mention that, did you see that one time where he tries to go for it and he flips on his own, smacking his own head into the rock? Like King Kong, like
I can confirm I did see that.
that shit was dumb. And then that part where he gets the tree, uproots it, and shoves it in his mouth to get him to stop blowing fire. Like, and then it catches on fire, flies back out, and hits him in the face. Like, it was just brilliant. It's just
When
like
was this movie made?
1960 something.
You know what?
Dude.
I'm gonna do a
Like,
little bit of
God.
research. I'll pull it up right now while we're talking.
no, I have it right here on my Godzilla thing. It's 1963 or 1962. I'll tell you right
He was a
now.
Godzilla.
If you have it
thing,
pulled up, which one is it?
No, it's not. It's not pulled up. It's I have this Godzilla marquee.
It's
and
in his mind
so
bank. He
it
remembers every
came out
Godzilla
in
movie.
1963 exactly, and it was actually Godzilla's only his third movie ever. They wanted to bring him to Western appeal, and they thought, well, he needs to fight an American monster then. And
1962.
and they were like, this book is lying to me. It says 1962.
It says King Kong versus Godzilla was released theatrically in Japan on August 11th, 1962.
Oh, so I'm looking at the U.S. release. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I forgot the
That's
U.S.
what I
is like
have.
a whole year behind Japan. You know,
and not to mention
that's how
those
the
actually have
first
different
rotation
endings too. The Japanese one had Godzilla winning, and the American one has King Kong winning.
works. Yeah, that damn
So-
monkey.
That funky monkey.
But so I did watch that. So kind of like I kind of know some things. If you haven't guessed, Gaston is a Godzilla.
Nerd.
Uh, I'm trying to think of the right word.
I'm addicted.
Fanatic.
He's a
Fanatic.
fanatic.
I'm a
Yeah,
kaiju worshiper, specifically in the House of
he
Godzilla.
is. He is the part of the cult of the kaijus.
Yes.
Don't get it confused with the cult of kaijus. That's where people shave their head and worship a little child. But the cult
Oh
of
God.
kaijus. That'd be an
Kaiju.
interesting cult, though, huh? The cult of kaijus.
Can we interview
Kaijus.
one of those?
That'd be very dangerously close to a
Dude.
skinhead meeting. I'm telling you that much
When
right now.
No, dude, when I was younger, okay, my dad looks like Caillou's dad, and I always thought about that when I'd watch that show. I was like, "Damn, my dad looks like Caillou's dad. Am I gonna go bald or something?" Like,
Shit.
but
Oh
I mean,
no.
so the original movie was obviously most of the things that I've seen of the original Kong or
Godzilla is cheesy
Godzilla
as
movies.
fuck.
Yeah, but I mean, there's only so much they could do. But I mean, they were very successful movies with the amount that they did. I mean. So obviously there was a niche for them.
I mean, he's
But
still
here we
around.
are. Here we are in 2021, and there's been if we're starting with the new released movies, like we have not Kong Skull Island, right?
Godzilla 2014, King of the Monsters, and this one.
Right. So now
Four.
we have 4 movies in the new Godzilla
Monsterverse is what they like to
Monsterverse, right?
call it.
And I have seen some of the original Kong that came out in 2014, and then I almost saw the entire thing of Godzilla King of the Monsters, which was a great movie.
Hmm.
And then Kong was amazing as well. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk
Yeah.
about Kong versus Godzilla.
Wait, I mean, you're more informed than me because I've only seen Kong versus Godzilla, and then I saw like the ones from like 2005 or whatever. So I've only seen one of them.
Oh, the Peter Jackson's King Kong or whatever, that one?
Oh, that one where he like
With
falls
Jack
in love with
Black
the
in it.
girl.
And I'm so glad they stopped doing that. Like, stop it with the monkey falling in love with a girl that's the size of his finger.
Hey, what is wrong with Monkey? I like Monkey.
No, that
As
he's in
Zombie loves.
love.
Zombie
Like,
loves
come on.
Monkey. Zombie loves Monkey.
Joni loves Chachi.
Kong.
But here's what I'm gonna do. So essentially, how this is gonna go is Amrit and I are ill-informed on this topic. So I'm gonna kind of steer the conversation, and I'm gonna kind of like ask questions, and we're
Mhm.
kind of just gonna talk about it. But you are the king. You are the encyclopedia right now on King Kong, Godzilla, and the other person that will not be named. If you haven't
Okay.
seen the movie, also if you haven't seen the movie,
No, if you haven't seen the movie,
you
then don't
should
watch
be
this.
clicking off
We're gonna
this
be talking
podcast
about
right
so
now.
much shit right
Right.
now. Get the fuck
So
out
this
of
is your
here.
opportunity to get out.
And if you stay and get mad, that's on you.
Right. So my first initial thought, I'm gonna give you one con just because I want to start out like that because I'm
I had
feisty.
some sticklers in there too. Don't you get me wrong.
One of my things that kind of from a movie's perspective is I felt like it was very short. Like I felt
Yes.
like it was a very short movie. Um now the actual like movie itself was great, but like when I finished it, my first initial thought was that felt like a really short movie because I think it is. I think it's only like an hour and
53
30.
minutes. And
Oh,
then
it's 53?
technically it ends like right when the credits start. It's like at like an hour and 44. So there's still like, 12 minutes of just like end credits that
So
with
essentially it's an
no
hour and 45 minutes.
pretty much because if you also want to take into account like the beginning title credits, I guess. I don't know.
So
Like
let's just cut it down to an hour
40
and
or
40.
hour.
That works.
Yeah.
That works. We'll say an hour and 40 minutes, which I get it because technically, I mean, they've had 2 Godzilla movies. They've had 1 Kong movie to build up to this. But like, yeah, man, I felt like it was very short. And I think we talked about this before when you and I were on the phone. So I guess we can dive a little bit more into this. But I felt like they didn't really focus on the story as much. It was more of like, all right, Kong, big monkey,
Godzilla
Godzilla.
pissed off lizard.
Yeah. So let's pin them together and see who comes out on top. That was
Exactly.
literally within the first 30 seconds what the plot was, which
They
is
did keep homage to the original plot, but with their own like things. Because it's always the original one was King Kong was used by this government. Like, okay, get this. Imagine companies having this much power. The CEO to a pharmaceutical company wants to take and get King Kong for his own monster for publicity only because he's sick and tired of everyone talking about Godzilla, even though when they're talking about Godzilla, they're talking about the death and destruction that he brings. So,
Right.
anyways, halfway through him bringing King Kong over, first of all, I'm not even going to tell how they got him. They got him drunk. But anyways,
Right.
they're bringing him back, and the government decides we can use them to kill each other, and then whoever's left over, we'll finish them off. And that was their plan. So this one was a little bit different in terms of like we need Kong, but
Right.
not to physically just go kick the shit out of Godzilla.
Well, here's a question. So, kind of going off of what you just said. So, like I said, I didn't get through all of the first two Godzilla movies, nor the Kong versus, or just the King Kong.
Skull Island.
Yeah. So, I really kind of watched Skull Island for the fights, because I thought it was cool.
I love the creatures.
Yeah, the creatures were really cool. I always thought like the whole bamboo spiders things creeped me out. Like that would be such a terrible. That's more terrifying to me
Then the
than
skull crawlers.
skull crawlers because you know when the skull crawlers are coming, you see them and like they
Fear
don't
them.
blend in. But these little bamboo spiders, like you don't see them. They look exactly like bamboo and they can impale you.
Yep. It's ridiculous.
That's
Not to mention those
terrifying.
tendrils that come down and suck you up.
Oh God, yes.
But I always
so,
like
like
Kong movies because they put in a lot of creatures, like even not
right.
for just Kong to fight. But
Well, that's big.
continue.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's actually an interesting fact, and I don't know what this was from, whether it was from a video game or if this was from concept art or an earlier movie, like old, like it still had rubber suits movie. But the skull crawlers are actually based off of a small creature, like it would be small compared to a human, from either a concept art or a video game or something. I think it was concept art from an earlier movie. And so they brought it and supersized it to fight Kong, which I actually
Yep.
thought was a really cool, interesting little detail. Like
Mhm.
when movies will like have a concept and like for instance with Star Wars, Darth Maul looked so different. He looked demonic
And wasn't
originally.
BB-8 supposed to be the original design for R2-D2?
Yes, and so they reuse those at a later date for certain things,
Pokemon
which I
did that too. Mhm.
right, it's awesome. But what I was gonna ask you is kind of going back, you were talking about, that people were afraid of Godzilla because of all the destruction he was making, right? So they were more pissed off at Godzilla. Are the new movies? Because I remember when I was watching Kong versus Godzilla, what's the little girl?
He wouldn't be doing what's it, Millie Bobby Brown, but she plays something Russo. I forget the name of the
Yeah,
character.
but she was like,
He
Kong he defended us. He's,
Oh, Godzilla, you
he's
mean?
oh sorry, yeah, Godzilla. He's defending us. He's not here to hurt us.
This is
And
probably like some sort of like something's triggering him, like
right.
blah 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 blah
So
blah.
so is that the outlook of besides the corporations that we're gonna get into? Is that like the outlook of the people, or is it similar to like, oh my, they're afraid of Godzilla because he's destroying the town and stuff?
Well, it's kind of like you'd have to go. It's I'll say it as short and sweet as I possibly can. It all goes back. They're hearkening and trying to like play at what us as the fans used to view Godzilla as, and what the marketing team used to do back in the day. Because before Godzilla was plain and simply just an allegory for the destruction of the nuclear bomb. Like he would destroy stuff, and they would say like this is just as worse or if not worse than the atomic bomb. Blah 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 blah. Then slowly out of nowhere in like the 70s they started realizing who was his main audience, which were children. So they started making the episode, like the movies, more campy, more like Godzilla's a good guy. Like the only reason he's
Right,
destroying buildings is because he's trying to get to the other monster in front of him that's destroying the
right,
town on its own. And they always put in like aliens or an evil human that's trying to do something and they're controlling or like doing something to fuck up with him. But later on, they go back to their roots where Godzilla is a destructive force and humanity is against him. Like he's not allowed to be like because like all he cares about is they change it to he's either mad at America or that he's either mad at the world for pollution. He's either mad because we're blah 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 blah. And then the worst one of all is the funniest one. Godzilla is a culmination of the Japanese people who
souls.
died in World
Yeah,
War II,
I saw
and
that.
they've come back for revenge against Japan because their own people have forgotten the
Yeah,
plight and the struggle. And I'm like,
I
that doesn't
saw
make any
that.
sense. If anything, shouldn't it go attack America? But whatever. Anyways,
Right.
I digress. So that's what they're trying to do with this one. Like they started off with 2014 Godzilla being not so much a hero, but like they don't know what to make of him yet. Like he's not destroying things unless we attack him, and he's really only going after these other two monsters. And then in King of the Monsters, we get a little bit more of like, yeah, he's on our side. We're fighting with him. Like jets are flying over him, and he's not attacking them back and stuff. But then this one is trying to go back to the roots, where he's at the end of the day a territorial monster of destruction, and he only cares about him being like no one in his territory. Like the people are like ants to him. As long as they're not biting him, he doesn't care. But like they're not anything to like usurp him. And that's like basically, if you think about Kong versus Godzilla, all it was Godzilla being like, "Where are you, you motherfucker? I'm the alpha. Where are you?" Like,
I actually had a question. Because in the movie, right, they said, like, when they were doing the whole backstory of what happened, they said that the first thing that woke up was Godzilla, and he was the strongest kaiju. How do they know that he's the strongest kaiju? Are they just assuming?
I guess
yes,
probably
Or
based off of the
like
fact
him
that he's
defeating
literally
everything, and
murdered
that he's
everything else.
like everything else is dead except for him, basically. Like,
yes.
So
And
I
was it
guess the
just me, or
strongest of the, or whatever, survival of the fittest kind of thing.
basically,
I mean, that
because
would make
like
sense.
because there's that whole hollow earth theory too, and like we're wondering, like a lot of us are wondering, if in this universe did Godzilla go through it on accident, or like what happened? Like, how is there an entire universe of monsters living inside like the earth, but Godzilla decides and some of the other titans as well, not just him, because remember in King of the Monsters there's like 18 of them or whatever hiding around the world underground. And
Right.
they kind of made a little bit of a like jab at that, where they were like, when that guy was trying to tell her, "You always said that Skull Island was like the Hollow Earth coming out into the surface, and that's where Kong could lead us back," or whatever. And so that being said, maybe all the other Titans came out of Middle Earth, or not Middle Earth, Hollow Earth, like from some crazy event, or maybe just some thing, and they don't know how to go back, or maybe specifically with Godzilla, he doesn't want to go back.
Right.
Maybe he's like, "I like it here. I'm
I
king."
mean, well, I mean, I guess because he's not challenged. I mean, kind of course,
Constantly.
if you haven't seen Kong versus Godzilla again, this is kind of like your final warning. But I mean, when Kong goes there, besides the war bats, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, that was what they were
Besides
called, warbats, those big
yeah,
snakes.
besides the war bats, I mean, that whole area of the Middle Earth, whatever, what is it called again?
Hollow Earth. I keep
Hollow
saying
Earth.
Middle Earth too, just because of
Yeah,
damn fucking Lord of
it's
the
like
Rings.
so the Hollow Earth, the Hollow Middle Earth is like, I feel like he would get tested there
Yeah, his
all the
entire
time,
ecosystem is just monsters on monsters on
right?
monsters. Like,
So, I mean, I guess going up to the surface, he's
he was just like, "I need
unchallenged.
a fucking rest. I'm tired."
Yeah. So, uh,
Because
I
they never
mean,
actually said that. Like
it,
in the old movies, Godzilla was just, and all the other monsters were just there. They've always existed, and we just never noticed them until now. And then they tried to. The only way they could bring more monsters in was like, "Oh, these are aliens." Like they
right,
never, or a bio experiment just now gone wrong.
right.
Like blah 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 blah, which sometimes was pretty decent. Like Biolante, I was wishing they would redo Biolante in this one, but that's asking for too much.
Isn't that the Spanish word for dance? No, that's
Biolante.
That's bailar. That's bailar.
You gave me
But
my perfect
I
inspiration for the abridged.
I guess going back to the topic of like kind of like I felt that it was a little fast paced. Even that fight with the wombats or warbats, sorry, not wombats, with the warbats,
It seemed a little
like
quick.
yeah, he took the. I mean, if I were to go back and watch it, I'd be willing to bet that that whole fight lasted 2 minutes tops.
Yeah, and that's like
Tops.
counting in like them attacking the people too, like not just
Yeah,
him.
dude. Like Kong literally grabbed them and just screwed them. That
Well, I
was
don't
it.
know if you noticed, but when he slammed the first one, when he drug
He
it
killed it.
away, it's
Impaled
because
its
he
head.
exactly, he perfectly impaled it on like a spiky rock or whatever. And I
Yeah,
did love that when that thing wrapped around him and all of a sudden with its wings things, I was like, "Oh shit, that's like a plastic bag." He's like fucking like a mobster or something.
suffocated him. Yeah, that was
Jesus.
those creatures were really cool. Actually, I
I
really
did
did
think
think.
so too.
Um,
Hell, even that little herpaderpy one that ate the crab when they were just walking
I
away, and he's just
know
like,
that was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of just with
It
that
was
in
quick.
mind,
It was
it
quick. Like
did.
if they had added 30 more minutes to 15, like 40 minutes, like I guarantee that there would have been a little bit more either longer fight scenes or a little bit more explanation rather than
Right.
like them just like going quickly through. Because like I don't know if y'all remember, but you remember in the beginning when that dude bro is trying to get the information, he's trying to be all awkward around that one guy. Like, here's my hand sanitizer for my home garden, and here's a band-aid I
Right.
don't think I've
Yeah.
used yet. But do
Yeah.
you remember when like as soon as he gets on the computer, he's like, "What are they shipping to Hong Kong? what's sublevel 33? And I'm like, how did you figure out all that in the span of a millisecond, bro?
Right.
There's a whole
Did you
spreadsheet on there. Like, give him 30 seconds to find it, bro. It's like, come on, like,
I mean,
okay,
did you
so
also
where?
notice how quickly Millie Bobby Brown and the security dude like bonded? It was absurd. It was like
Oh,
5 minutes.
like
Like
literally,
this man, they met,
literally,
and
she
then
just
5 minutes later, he was
Well, it
talking
makes
about like how
sense.
was
I mean,
no.
no, it
It
doesn't.
was
Not
so
really.
fast. It was
well, let me put it this
incredibly
way:
fast.
if they're both Godzilla freaks, right? Like they're really into Godzilla.
Maybe.
Like you find those things to. I mean, think about it like in our
Conspiracy
friend group.
nutters.
If you find something to bond over, like you kind of get to know that person and get comfortable with them very quickly. Now, I think from a character development standpoint, they got a little too familiar, a little too quick, but I don't think it's as much. But it
Like, it's
definitely
not so far fetched, but it was a little jarring for me too. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, why are
right. Like you
Why
guys
are they so
just
close
met,
together?
right?
and you guys
It's
are
not
gonna go
like you
break
guys
into a
met in
top secret government organization
right.
together? You do realize these are children, right? You could probably get in trouble, dude. Like,
It's not like you guys have been like pen pals for like a year talking about Godzilla.
like,
You
yeah, we're gonna
know,
do this. We're gonna uncover the truth. And then, not to mention, you got there that whole like, where is that guy's from? Is he like?
I think he's
Is
a
he
new
like?
character.
But
I think
is
he's
it no? But
just a
I'm
new
talking
character.
about like the guy in the middle. That is he like? What's his accent?
Oh, he's that guy. You mean the chubby kid?
Yes. What's his
He was
accent? It's
from
not British.
he's in a bunch of stuff. I saw him recently. When I say recently, like the last movie I saw him in was this Christmas movie with Kurt Russell. It was actually really good. It was a good
Well, he
Christmas
was
movie.
pretty funny. In fact, he was in there. He name dropped. Like, thank God they gave it to him.
Yes.
Like, that's Mecha Godzilla. I was like, yeah, all right,
Yeah.
all right. You
He
deserve to
was,
be in this movie.
did you see Deadpool 2?
I did. He's
He
the kid,
was
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's him. So
I'm
that's
just like,
that was what I saw him as.
I'm just like trying to be like, think of where the heck his accent is from. Like, is he from New Zealand or
I'll look
like
it up actually. How do you want to
Australia or
bet?
something? Because I know that's not
I'd be
British.
willing to bet Australian. I'm gonna go with
Yeah,
Australian.
Australian, something like that.
I'd
It's
say
got to
New
be.
Zealand.
You're gonna
It's
say
right,
New
right. That's where
Zealand?
I'm
Let's
going
see.
because it's Australian, but not.
We're gonna look it up.
And I know I might be sounding racist or bigoted, but god damn it, I'm sorry. I'm ignorant. I don't know.
Godzilla
I don't
cast.
judge or hate anyone. I just legitimately
All
want to know.
right. Julian Dennison. Let's see, where is he from? Julian Dennison is a can I get a drum roll? He is a New Zealand actor. New Zealand
Oh,
actor.
I had a feeling. My hunch was correct
He
because
was
I love the way
New
his
Zealand.
accent. I love the New Zealand accent. It's so fucking
Born
like
sounds like a
October
watered down Australian
26th.
accent.
it does. It's like you know how like we think British people sound more elegant and stuff like that. It's like it has the sense of elegance, but like you're also telling a joke at the same time with New Zealand. I don't know why, but like the way he was like because he carries around an old bottle of whiskey from his dead wife like it's a gun. I'm just like, yep, that's a little bit freaky too.
Never heard that one before,
Like,
but okay.
remember when he's talking about how like that crazy guy has like the
No,
bottle of
I'm saying
whiskey?
I've never heard somebody say something like that
Exactly,
before,
like
but
in the
okay,
key
go off, kid.
phrase, like Jesus Christ.
But yeah, so yeah, it felt pretty fast to
Very
say the
fast.
least.
Yes.
Um,
Action was great.
So coming from somebody who's never actually like really seen one like that before, it was kind of weird because I feel like they were babying Kong the entire
they
time.
were
No, it felt like a Kong movie to me. Like this was like Captain America: Civil War for him. Like
yes, and it felt
And
like
they kind of just
yeah,
made Godzilla
a dick.
seem like the bad
They
guy.
even gave him an evil villain laugh after he like burns like Kong in the back. He just goes. I'm like, Godzilla doesn't laugh. Don't you fucking make him like that. He doesn't snicker.
um,
He's.
I will say that fight in the water in the aircraft carrier.
Oh yeah.
That was cool, but I actually I like the suspense of like after Kong got his ass beat, and then
Yeah.
they were like shut everything down,
And
and
he's
then
like, what?
like to trick Godzilla, and they were all just sitting there. I was actually like, I was like, dude, is this gonna work? I was
Dude.
like-
And then
I was-
Godzilla never looked so menacing in that wreckage of water with all the fire around him and everything. He's just looking like,
Yeah, dude, that man looked fucking lit. Oh my god.
all right,
oh
everything's
my
taken
God.
care of. I'm out. Like, I'm just like, dude, don't you fuck with him.
Yeah.
I did find one thing in that entire fight contrived or not believable. We need to find a way to somehow stun Godzilla. Depth charges. I'm like, wouldn't that have hurt the fuck out of Kong
Yeah.
too? Especially since he just ran
Right.
out of oxygen.
Dude, a nuke wouldn't even do anything to Godzilla. You're basically just attacking Kong at that point.
And then
Yeah.
like some people tried to say it's because Godzilla has echolocation and he's more like sensitive to noises underwater, so I'll give him that. But like at the end of the day, those would have like Kong should have came out with some singe marks on him or something, or like he could have just floated to the top, not grabbed the thing. Like I don't know, but I did think that was so cool when Godzilla turns the boat over and Kong's stuck under there, all chained up and shit, and all the jets and boats are trying to keep him off bay. Like,
also, I gotta say,
wrecking
the boat physics are kind of fucked.
Yeah,
a little bit, but
that boat would have not been like that. That boat would have not been like that.
But we'll skip past that. Don't worry about it.
Like, I'm sorry, but if fucking Godzilla steps onto your aircraft carrier, bro, that shit's tipping.
That thing is like when Kong jumped on it, dude. That middle boat, that poor middle boat. I just remember when it happened. I just said to my cousin, like, they're dead. I was like, they're dead.
This shit's tipping.
But dude, that movie had some great visual effects. Like even in the same scene when Kong like steps onto the thing and it starts to go up, and that one guy at the very end of the aircraft carrier takes off in the jet, and you can see behind him Kong like yelling like,
yeah,
and like the boat's like up in the sky at that point, like 90-degree angle up in the sky. He's like, fuck. And then the other one, that poor guy, Kong grabs the plane to throw it like a dart. And then the guy's like, oh shit, hey Jack.
The other thing that was a little like, what the fuck, was when the girl could sense Godzilla coming through the vibrations. I was like,
yes.
I mean, I guess it's. I don't know enough about that.
Well, the
stuff,
thing is,
but
they might be trying to introduce the ESP, because that's the whole thing that was really big in Japan back in the day, was monsters and ESP. So
well, I know that
they had some character named Miki Sugusa who could like communicate with him, or like she felt his presence, like she'd be like, he's coming and stuff like that. Like she would be like that all the time. And so
right.
I hated her though, because she always was sympathetic towards him. He's like, we can't destroy him. I was like, yeah, let's just let him destroy the rest of the cities then. Like let them make hundreds of thousands of more orphans. Like, yes, just because you like him, you're gonna get fucked by him. I'll tell you that much.
It kind of felt like they were just kind of mixing stuff in. Like the little girl felt to me like the romance type relationship that he had with the
but just not
original,
like sexualized,
but not romantic. It was just that he cared for her, right?
Yeah, like a papa.
That was right. So he was just kind of looking out for her the same way he did for that girl. So I mean, that's cool. I like that. But yeah, man. But again, the movie was good. So
when Kong did that sign language, dude, freaked me the fuck out, dude. I was like, oh damn, that was actually a nice touch to make him that smart. Like,
right. Kind of moving on to the some of the other parts of this. The going into the Hollow Middle Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It visually was beautiful.
Oh my god. Wait, can
that
I
was
just say,
a mind fuck.
That fucking girl, oh my god, I wanted to punch her upside her fucking head.
Oh, the evil one?
I'm so glad she
Oh my
did.
god, I wanted to punch her upside her head.
When she's like first like, feel free to be impressed. And I'm just like, God, this bitch. Like, yep, I'm glad she got eaten. Or not eaten, crushed. Like, Kong just looks inside there. He's like, oh, nope, little girl's not in there. All right. I was like, that was perfect.
God, bro, I've never been so... Dude, she gave me fucking Skylar White energy. I wanted to punch her in her shit, dude.
Stop.
Dude, I could not. Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't like her either. Drop the monkey.
Okay, but yeah, you're saying, Ryan, sorry, I cut you off there.
No, it's okay. I'm
it was that Hollow Earth scene was very, very cool, but there's two things I had wrong with it. Why did they have to go through a wormhole type effect? And if there is that wormhole type effect, did Godzilla's beam travel through the wormhole effect when he blew a hole through Earth?
Like, I was gonna say, that's the other thing, is it's like, if they had to do that,
why didn't they have to do it on the way back out?
Right. So how does that
And then
work?
Godzilla's beam wasn't wide enough for Kong to slide all the way down that, if you think about it. Like,
yeah, what is he, Lil Nas?
Like, first of all, like, it's going to be the radius of Godzilla's mouth. Kong is like the size of Godzilla's body. There's no way that Kong could slide down that with enough room to hold the axe to stop him from going too fast. Like,
I saw your
into the wall.
About Lil Nas and you watching that video. That was scuffed. Shout out Lil Nas and your shoes. Hope your sales go well. Because they're about to get canceled.
Hope you don't get sued.
Oh, he is 100% getting sued.
Who was that one rapper that tried making a console and they were ripping off Nintendo, and Nintendo was just sitting back going,
just Soldier Boy? I don't support
Soldier Boy. It was a Soldier Boy console, and Nintendo was just like, wait, not yet. We can get more. Wait, let him do some more super shit. Let this idiot is probably going to put the damn Nintendo logo on it. Let's just wait. Like, that's what they were probably doing. Like, waiting to get like the most out of him. Like, yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was cool that like that there was like a different gravity level,
Yeah,
so that
ecosystem,
way
so to
he
speak.
could flip to the other like the top side. That was so cool.
Oh
And
yeah,
in,
that was
in
lit.
that in that regard, that also makes it a lot more believable because if you think of an entire world dominated by titans that always like try to fight each other for dominance, like there's got to be a way for it to like keep them away. It's like some of them that can't fly are just looking up at each other like "fuck you, man, fuck you, I can't get down there. I'll get to there someday." And the flying ones
Right.
are all just like "I'm king, you're something like
Well,
Until
here's
you
one of the
get
questions.
beamed.
Here's one of
Yep.
the questions that I had. So so Kong, obviously they all go into that area, and Kong is like, "Ayo, I'm gonna sit on my for like all of 5 seconds because we got to rush this movie along."
exactly.
And then he puts down the axes, which makes the form of the Godzilla kaiju, right?
Well,
I
it's
thought that was
actually for lore. It's people of us are thinking it's the world serpent, which is like an enemy that's greater than Godzilla and Kong, and we're starting to think that they actually work together as a race
so
to fight
why.
him.
Huh.
Nobody knows. See, that's just
Not
literally,
saying
in my
why.
opinion, when people say that, I'm like, why does that even matter? Like, they're not even gonna.
Well, why? Like, why would you think that? Because to me, it just looked like
It looked
Godzilla.
like Godzilla, but they
Yeah.
just didn't draw his body. They just did the thing. But these damn Easter eggers, they'll find they'll chomp at every little bit. Dude, this mean that this is going to happen? Like, blah, blah, blah,
Like
blah, blah.
it'd be like Snake. That sounds a lot like Snake,
Snape.
and the head
Solid
was taken
Snake.
off. It was
Solid Snake
therefore
confirmed.
severed. So therefore, Severus Snape is coming back as Voldemort. Like come up with anything. You know. But yeah. But I thought it was here's one thing that I don't understand, which I thought was cool, but I didn't understand. So when Godzilla, like perked his little cute little dude ass up and started blasting a hole to the center of the earth, um, and that little, whatever on the ground, the drawing started to glow, right? I thought that Godzilla got that power of the breath or whatever from absorbing atomic energy.
Yes, that is exactly where he gets it from. But
So
that's why I don't understand this entirety of it. So maybe I'm thinking that Godzilla, his energy powers the world.
doesn't?
Like
Yeah,
not
maybe
powers the world, but powers the hollow earth. Like maybe his
comes
species, like
from
the
Hollow
or
Earth?
like were the ones that like created the earth, so to speak, like with their energy.
Right.
Because of their energy, other things were allowed to like
Right. Because
because of them.
if his little whatever, his breath of Cagliostro can do that and lights up the dorsal fins and everything, and it lights up the from the dead other Godzilla kaiju things,
Spines,
right? Um, then that would make me think that it doesn't come from like
atomic
the
energy.
energy that he absorbed, but potentially that it comes from another source that he is born with, right? That would make more sense to me because then it wouldn't be reliant on that atomic energy and it would
But the
allow for
thing
that
is
whole
though
like
they made it seem like he like in Godzilla 2014 they described them solely as creatures who hunger for an intense amount of power, and that nuclear energy is our modern version of that. Is anywhere close. So that's why they're attacking us now. Is because they're
so
hungry, and they finally now have a sustainable food source because they can't go back under there
well,
now.
you know what I'll bet you it is? It's probably like and funny enough, it's probably like fucking Star Wars, dude. Like they did the first movie not expecting to do anything else, but then it took off, and so they're
Yep.
like, "Oh, we'll do another movie." And then obviously King of the Monsters didn't do as well at the box office, but did enough to where they could do Kong, and
Well, actually,
then
Kong and all them was still scheduled before they even started finished filming for King of the Monsters.
2014.
Oh no, King of the Monsters.
Oh,
So
okay. So then they after the success of the first more, so they probably weren't even thinking about that.
no.
So, but I mean, if
I
there's
mean,
a will, there's
Godzilla's
a way.
famous for not being continuing with its own series. Like
He
all
has
the 30 plus
continuity all over
movies,
the place.
like in all his movies, there's different origin stories for him. Some of them are direct sequels to other movies years later, and other ones are like, okay, we're gonna follow the timeline of these 5 movies, but everything before and after that, nah. And so it's like it gets very confusing every now and then. You don't know which version of Godzilla you're really watching half the time, and like, is he the villain? Is he the hero? Is he a dinosaur? Is he an ancient force? Is he what is he? And not to
Yeah.
mention, like, where's his powers come from? How many powers does he have now? Because a lot of the time they give him bullshit stuff. Like when Godzilla first came out, his one weakness was electricity. But
The fuck?
now It doesn't fuck with him at all. No, I know, right? Like, and now they're saying that
Pikachu
Godzilla can
versus
regenerate on the
Godzilla.
cellular level because before his hide was too strong for tanks to pierce through. But then when they went down the line, they were like, no, his flesh is weak enough for like a hard enough explosion to chunk it off. But the reason he has no battle damage is because he regenerates on the cellular level at light speed or something like that.
Oh
And
god.
so they were just trying to give him so many different contriving powers. Like there's been one where he's flown by literally turning around, like a monster was flying away from him, and he's like, "You think you're getting away?" He turns around, looks at the ground, and starts blasting his beam into the ground, and he flies with that
Some Captain
backwards
America
and
type
tackles
shit.
him. He looked like a fucking shrimp. It looked ridiculous. There's been the most infamous things like this were back when he was in suits, but like there's been one where he literally like a kangaroo slides on his tail with his feet, and he's like light as a feather, stiff as a board, and he drop kicks, so to speak, another monster that someone else, that another monster is fucking full Nelsoning.
Well, he's probably doing some Pilates and stuff, stretching
Dude.
out before the battle.
Dude,
Can
it
I
is the
just say,
weirdest.
Godzilla's legs are so absurdly big compared to his upper body.
That's a
dude.
big
It's just
boy.
it's so funny to
He's
watch.
all that
It's like
because if you
it's
think
like
about it,
it's like
he
an
weighs
angry chicken without wings, dude.
140,000 tons,
Bro,
dude.
the thigh, you know how there's like ass boys, boob boys, right?
He's
The
a
thigh
thigh boy.
boys are just the thigh weebs are just jeezing right now. They're just
Godzilla never skips leg day. I'll tell you that.
no,
Dude,
dude, every day is
literally
leg day for
imagine a
Godzilla.
chicken without wings, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, legit. Like it's funny as shit.
It
I do
is.
like this iteration of them because like they were trying to be as scientifically accurate as they could because like in reality no creature could be that big. It wouldn't its vascular system alone would be way too complicated. Like
Right.
but anyways, like I just did like this one because like I didn't like the other ones where he just seems like a humanoid, like but just with lizard-like features. It's like he
Right.
doesn't have arms of a man, and he doesn't have the legs of a dude. Like in this one, it's like I said, it's just what I've always envisioned him to be in my brain as a kid, and so like they've really
Kind of
like
captured it.
captured like that essence of like what he should be in my opinion. Now I know there's other people that are like he looks lame, he looks too fat, he looks whatever. Like more power to you. We all like different things. We all have different favorite colors, whatever. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So,
Well, by the
Well-
way, I really like the scene of Kong scratching his ass at the very beginning of the movie.
yes,
I love that touch.
yes, that was so great. But
Uh,
the
but
fight
yeah.
scenes were genuinely very awesome. Like I
Oh,
never
yeah.
once felt like that. Like they were
Can I-
like, oh, that's lame, or oh,
That
really,
was
you
what
had to
I
do
was
that
gonna
move.
That was what I was gonna get to in a second. Was the end fights?
Dude, the end fights were the fucking shit.
Can I say
They were great.
Kong is really good at hand to hand.
Dude,
Like, he
that
would-
boy knows some
like-
taekwondo.
Like if Godzilla didn't have his breath, dude, I feel like he would have gotten smacked.
Yeah, definitely would have.
I feel like his breath was the only thing that was keeping him like alive.
Oh,
Other than
100%.
his like his flesh, technically.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah,
Kong
yeah,
could have
yeah.
technically like bit
Yo,
him or something like monkeys do.
Godzilla
Or, like
needs to use his tail more.
he does. Oh my god, why? I mean, when he used it to kill those two boats in the beginning, I was like, all right, they're getting into the spirit of Godzilla's tail, always fucking shit up too.
Right.
I mean, he did use it once to smack King Kong. I did like that, but he didn't use it as much.
That's it.
He used it once to smack him, but like, dude, that fight scene. I'm just gonna tell you right now, because like, I was telling Emmett this right before you came back into the thing before we started the podcast. What you call it? Going into that movie, I was very, very scared because as a big time Godzilla fan, I know that the way people influence things nowadays, they influence content creators. That these content creators, instead of going with their gut or going with what the fans want, they go with what the critic. They cave into critics, or they cave into like, well, we can't clearly pick who wins and who loses because the people on his team are gonna fucking freak and they're gonna want blood from us. They're gonna want to send us death threats and stuff like that. So
Right.
going into that, having watched Batman versus Superman, always thinking in my head, Superman could kick the shit out of Batman if he wanted to.
All right, this is a whole different topic because I could counter you so very easily right now.
So going into that, I thought
Oh my
that
god.
Kong
Oh.
was going to win. I thought
Okay.
that Kong, being the underdog and being like, well, you never know, like don't always expect what you think
Right.
you're going to get. I
Right.
thought that, and then the whole when they show him with that axe in the trailers, like before the movie even got released, I was like, you had to give him some cop out like you did in the original 1960.
That man had cop outs the entire fucking time.
He did.
Well, I mean, the army kept helping him. The like that fight would have been over the very beginning when they're on the aircraft carrier and he hits
Done.
Godzilla. Godzilla knocks him back down to the ground. He's about to fire
Well,
a beam in his
to
face,
be
and then he
fair-
just gets hit in the back. by
To be
missiles
fair, the army also put Kong at a disadvantage. He was
in the
literally
beginning.
surrounded by
Right.
water.
If it wasn't for
That's
So
that
true.
guy releasing him.
Oh, that too. Yeah, that was just like restricting as fuck. Like not only being not in your element, but being like chained up,
yeah.
can't even move. Like that shit. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't personally know what it's like to be chained up. I could always ask my girlfriend. Kind of moving on.
Like an animal. Like an
Uh,
animal.
yeah, the fight though between Kong and Godzilla was great. And I'll
Yes, it
move into
was.
that in a second. But the one thing I want to start out with is I thought before this movie came out that we obviously knew that Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah,
Now,
people knew about that well before because some idiots in Hong Kong showed the toys and it
right,
had everything. They showed Kong's axe, they showed Mechagodzilla, they showed Warbat, and everybody
right,
was like, "Look at!" It was like years before they even started like announcing that they're filming it. Like it's
right.
ridiculous. The same thing happened. I remember when I watched, or not watched, but real quick, I knew what the Indominus Rex looked like well before the movie came out because of a Lego set, like released in Denmark. And
Yeah,
my cousin sent me a picture saying, "Look, dude, this is what the new dinosaur's gonna look like." And I'm like, "Yeah, but in Lego form." So,
and
like,
Lego, but it still gives you like an idea of what's coming. So,
yeah.
but
So
I thought that the guy that was kind of piloting Mechagodzilla, what
Uh-huh.
I thought was gonna happen was King Ghidorah was going to like not control him per
but
se.
they'd merge brains and they'd kind of work
Right.
together.
Right. And then he was gonna kinda go off on right. Not what happened, obviously.
No,
But
not at
What
all.
what
no.
did happen? Because I was pretty confused.
Okay,
So
so basically, this is you had to have seen the first one
yeah,
before that. So,
I'm just gonna like ask and jot this
King of the
off.
Monsters solidifies that with one of Godzilla's greatest foes, which is King Ghidorah, and he has always been a monster from space. And they did that from this one, but he had been in Antarctica frozen, like he crashed down on Earth and froze there or whatever. And so there's this evil organization that wants to break out kaiju. Blah 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 blah. Anyways, I'll just get to the meat and potatoes. Godzilla kills Ghidorah, but
Uh-huh.
before he kills him, they have an altercation in the beginning of the movie, and Godzilla legit rips off one of King Ghidorah's three heads and like throws it away, like while they're fighting in the ocean. And then the army decides to drop this, what they call the oxygen destroyer, which is a call out to the very first Godzilla movie and to Godzilla versus Destroyer, but because the oxygen destroyer was what killed the original Godzilla.
Oh.
To
And
essentially
what happened, it
put it
fell in there, and they assumed Godzilla to be dead, and King Ghidorah just flies out of the water like nothing happened, and he regrew his head. And then the army's like, "What the fuck?" And so later on, at the very end of the movie, after Ghidorah is dead, there's a head that they found in the ocean by some fishermen, and then the evil guy of the evil organization comes back, and he's like, "We'll take it." And so that shows you that I didn't know about the second skull. I always thought it was just the one, but apparently there was one that guy was in the chair and one inside Mecha Godzilla's head.
yeah.
So
Oh.
the whole thing with Ghidorah is that he is beyond our comprehension. Like he doesn't work by the same anatomy as us, and so his brain and everything. That's how Apex was able to make even all their futuristic technology in the first place because they were learning from
Oh.
Ghidorah's brain. So that's why they had those heaves or whatever the fuck they called them, those fucking hollow earth vehicles or whatever. And then
Yeah.
that's why they even were even able to even think about creating Mechagodzilla because of Ghidorah's help. And like that's what I've always liked about Godzilla movies. They always try to keep it in modern times, but throw in a splash of sci-fi. Like something that you know doesn't exist in this timeline. They've never given him like that's fantasy. But anyways, I digress. So that's how Mechagodzilla, so to speak, became his own entity. Ghidorah became like since he got that monster energy, he was now at full brain capacity and
Right.
able
Wait.
to actually be
So
conscious of himself.
to put
That's
it
why he never took over in the beginning because he was always, so to speak, still asleep because they didn't have the
yeah,
right power to
Oh.
draw him out and stuff like that. And so,
I was gonna say to put it simply, the little juice that they got put his brain at full capacity and woke him up, and he
yeah,
took control of the mech. Is
It
yep.
essentially
was but
to
it was
put it
King
simply,
Ghidorah?
that's what happened.
It was
It
two
was King
Ghidorah
Ghidorah,
heads. It was
So
King
there
Ghidorah
but
inside Mechagodzilla's body. So like at the end of the day, they just really made King Ghidorah the villain in both movies.
right.
oh, okay.
Essentially,
If you think about the ultimate villain, if you
um,
so to speak.
they had the 2 heads, and from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, is they used one brain to connect with the other brain to control the
The
mech.
mech. Yes.
Yeah, so
Also
that guy wasn't in Mechagodzilla,
He was
like
in like a lab somewhere and like
right, but he still got deep fried, so
dude, the first time he went through it, though, the way his eyes rolled back, like,
Yeah,
and then like when he was like blasting a hole through that skull crawler, he was all like,
I know.
like I am Godzilla, yes, like he was just having a full on brain orgasm. Like,
But
I
yeah,
thought that shit was funny.
that whole fight between Mechagodzilla and Godzilla, it was great because you could see that like Godzilla was getting his ass kicked.
Bro,
Yeah,
he's
no, and
getting
that's how it's
fucked
always
up,
been, dude.
dude.
So I'm very glad that they made Mechagodzilla like a beast
Right.
because he's
But
always
then,
been a beast.
but what's wild to me is once Kong had the axe, like he took Mechagodzilla down so quick. Like he
Yep.
took him down.
Well, if you think about it, it was supercharged from Godzilla's radiation.
Which
That
I
was the
thought
only
was
way
cool.
it was able to cut through it. Because when he was attacking him at first with it, it was just scraping the metal. It wasn't actually going through it. And then when he supercharged it, it did that. But like, I always thought that was kind of funny. It was like Godzilla beats Kong, Mechagodzilla beats Godzilla, Kong beats Mechagodzilla. Like, who is stronger? Nobody knows. It's so fucked up. Power levels are bullshit.
Right. So
If Dragon Ball Z has taught me anything, power levels.
The result of the movie is how I predicted the movie was gonna come out to be. Like
Same.
I figured it was gonna be like a draw or come to an agreement and just be like, "Ayo, we're done." But I will say the most satisfying part of that movie is when Kong picked up the bitch that we don't like and just crushed it.
Yeah, like he like looks inside it too, just to make sure the little girl's
Yeah.
not in there too. He's like, no, you're not in there. Like he didn't even look at them too. He like puts his arm down and continues to look away and just like crushes his hand, all like chill. It's like,
Yeah.
damn. It was her
Um,
own fault. She said he's in the way. Shoot him. You're in a vehicle that can travel in 3 dimensions. You can move around him, you dumbass. Like,
but all in all, movie was good. Would recommend.
yes. I'll say my favorite scene, and it's just because I'm a cynic, and it draws back to where I was like afraid. I thought Kong was going to be the one that would win, or like not win, but like how it ended, where they both just stopped fighting with each other, and then a newer threat came out. But if you think about it, Godzilla won. Kong and Godzilla.
He really did. He really
Because
did.
Kong's heart was dying, and the only reason he was able to live is because of that super specific machine detonating on his heart and basically being like a defibrillator, which is a call out to the 1962 one because Godzilla was beating the shit out of Kong. He's starting to bury him in mountains, and all of a sudden, lightning strikes Kong, giving him super energy.
Really?
And then when Kong grabs, punches, and bites Godzilla, there's like a little bit of an electric charge to it. And then, of course, in the beginning, what was Godzilla's one weakness? Electricity. So it gave him a fighting chance. And in my brain, though, I'm like, if a monkey gets struck with lightning, he's gonna burn. He's not gonna gain energy from it, regardless if he's a bigger monkey or not.
Right.
Like, and the reason it was like that, little fun fact, it wasn't supposed to be King Kong he was going to originally fight. He was going to fight Frankenstein's monster. And that's the whole lightning thing. It was going to strike Frankenstein in the neck bolts and give him more power.
Oh, really?
And they just forgot to write that part out.
Huh. Okay.
So I like that callback. There were so many callbacks. Like when Kong shoves the end of the axe in Godzilla's mouth, that's the callback to the tree being shoved in Godzilla's mouth.
Right. So,
like, so many good callbacks.
It's nice to see like when a movie references like its past and
yeah, like what made it like famous in the first place.
Right. So it's giving those good little callbacks and kind of doing some fan service is really what it would come down to, is just kind of doing some fan service.
Exactly.
But man, I thought it was a good movie, and I'm not a Godzilla fan, so
dude, like from the moment like when Mechagodzilla just starts like running at Godzilla, just firing missiles nonstop while he's still running at him. He's just grabbing him in the face and like smashing his face into buildings. Just
I was like, oh, this man's about to get his shit kicked in. I could already, you could just tell. As soon as you started lighting his ass up, you're like, oh no,
no,
he's dead.
And like the little things that Mechagodzilla could do, like when his arms are being held by both of them, and Kong gets like up on his feet and like is like trying to pull his arm out the socket. Like Mechagodzilla turns and looks at Godzilla, and then missiles just come out of his shoulder and start blasting Godzilla in the face, and then he grabs Kong off, and I'm like, get the fuck off me!
The man has a blade tail.
Oh, dude, it was drilling too, like. And they had to do the homage of the humans are the reason that they were able to even do anything, because Kong would have died right there if like the girl didn't like, or like the guy hadn't like poured the alcohol, making Mechagodzilla stutter for a little bit.
Right.
So, but that's how they did it in the old one too, dude. Like when he first fought the real Mechagodzilla, he or the original Mechagodzilla, like the human scientist is the one that like helps him. Like he throws these things to like fuck up the controls, and then Mechagodzilla starts like wigging out, and it gives Godzilla just enough time to like beat him up.
Right.
So.
Well,
But I just
Shall
wish that
we?
they had made him from space, like Mechagodzilla from space, because it would have seemed more believable that aliens could have created that kind of technology. But it would have been way too contrived and like, oh, by the way, there's
Well,
aliens in this
technically,
universe too. Like, but I mean, technically they said it because
isn't an
Ghidorah is from
alien?
space.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
an
mean, they said
alien.
Ghidorah was from space, and like that's what we were all freaking out because Ghidorah was always controlled by the Zillions, which was like this race of aliens, and they lived on Planet X.
Godzilla's cousin. Oh, the
Zillions, and they
zillion.
no, like that, or X
They live,
Zillions is what they call themselves.
they
But like
live a
basically,
zillion
they
years.
those are New Zealand.
nope, they live on the other side of the sun. They've
Oh,
just
what the
been
fuck?
on the perfect orbit with us that we can never see them behind the sun.
Oh my gosh.
That's what it was. Like that's the 1960s logic for why
I mean,
we never knew a
honestly,
planet existed.
I mean,
I mean, in the
that's
1960s, I would have
what
believed it.
that's
I'm
what it
like,
looks
yeah, this
like.
is the best thing since sliced bread.
I mean,
I like the voice cast. That's a good character.
Yeah, see, yeah. Talk like
but
that, and the cop pulls me over. Why are you talking like that? Why am I talking like what? See,
are you discriminating? Are you
I
really
always talk
wrapping
like
it up?
this.
Because I feel like we should mention our favorite scene and least favorite scene.
Yes, favorite scene. You guys can start.
Oof.
You go.
I would say favorite scene would probably be Monkey scratching Ace.
Oh yeah.
Least favorite scene probably when Millie Bobby Brown meets the guy.
And then she like does that like lean over thing. Like I think Godzilla's attacks just haven't been random.
Yeah, I
Like I'm
think
just like,
it was a boring. I was like,
Like okay.
okay.
and going
Okay.
into that, Amber, you don't know who she is, but she was a big part in
The first
King of the
Godzilla.
Monsters.
Oh, it was the
Oh,
second.
Well, no, just King of the Monsters. The first one doesn't even. It follows like Bryan Cranston and then like his family, like the Brody family is what they're called,
Right.
or the Rhodey family or whatever. That's their like the last name. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. What about your favorite scene,
my favorite
Amber?
team would probably be when King Kong just started fucking hacking at Mechagodzilla. Because that man just
Yes.
started going ham. Dude, you just saw parts just flying off. Oh my god,
And
that
then
shit
he's
was
like
so
drenched in the oil like it's blood or
yeah,
whatever. And I was just like, dude.
shit was lit. It was lit.
Mm.
Least favorite scene was how they weakened Mechagodzilla, because I thought that was kind of a cop out, just throwing a drink onto a computer.
Right.
But
Agreed. You think they'd
it's
have
what
fail safes for that, but
yeah,
like
it's
an advanced
whatever.
robotics company like that,
I'm gonna let it slide.
I'm gonna let it slide. There's so many things. My favorite
But yeah,
scene was the combination of um like basically Godzilla starting to get the upper hand, so he's like chasing Kong, like Kong's like trying to crawl away from him and he's nipping at his feet and shit like that, and then he like grabs Kong by the arm, rips his arm out of his socket, like you hear the shoulder like go, and then he just throws him, and then he just puts his foot on him. Kong is still being defiant. It's like, fuck you, get off me. Punches him in the face, and Godzilla's like, fuck, and then slams on him. And then they just do that. This is what I pictured that they're saying. Like, you know how Godzilla starts roaring at him for a while, and then Kong decides to roar back at him? Like, I'm just
yeah.
thinking him going, say, Uncle! And then Kong's like, Uncle! Because you can hear, like, when Godzilla takes his foot off, Kong's like his ribs were cracked or something. And to me, that was my favorite scene, just because, like I said, sorry to all you Kong fans out there. Sorry, but like, Godzilla's the
Right.
king. Godzilla's the king. And
Godzilla
he just showed who was the motherfucking king.
Can I also say, uh, Kong's facial expressions are so good. Like they
They
actually
were
made me feel
really
sad for
good.
him.
Really good. No, yeah. Oh my god! Like when he pops his shoulder back in when he slams it against the building, he's like, "Fuck!" Like that was. And then okay, least favorite scene had to have been a tie between them going through the wormhole
Mhm.
and or the whole
just because
Kong opening a door and like there's suddenly this Asgardian temple that's like I was like, did you guys know how to carve?
right.
Like
But did they
Smart enough
explain
to
what
like
that was?
no, okay, so I can explain what that is. Like it kind of would make sense if you watch the other one too, King of the Monsters, but like when Godzilla's really hurt from that oxygen destroyer and Ghidorah is all causing trouble, um, the government and everyone's like, well, we need to go back there and like where did Godzilla go? He's like, he went down to the subterranean layer or whatever, and he's trying to recharge energy. And so they take a guy down there to go detonate a nuke on him to like basically
What?
give him more power
Oh,
or
okay.
whatever. And like, but when he goes in there, it's a huge like giant temple. Like it seems like everything was like made by us, but on a massive scale, like way bigger than we would normally make it. And it showed
Oh,
like as if these people worshiped Godzilla. And so I'm thinking that temple was people that worshiped Kong specifically, because
oh,
there are many things, and they even show them in like little news articles of like in the credits and subcredits of the shows and of those movies, that it was believed that ancient people lived under in the Hollow Earth with the Titans. They coexisted with them,
well, that's cool.
Well,
basically.
they obviously didn't last very long.
No,
um, but
so
yeah. Well, I
but that
guess
was my least. It was just it took me out of it. I was like, this is supposed to be a giant monster movie, not like some magical quest. Like he's getting a weapon and finding out his like origin, that he's a king or something in a throne. Like get the fuck out of here! Like I want to see monsters beating each other up. Just because for the fact of I'm big, get out of here. This town ain't big enough for the two of us. Yeah, that's what I came to see, and that's what I got. So
and that is
I'm not
exactly what
complaining at
you're
all.
doing.
Like that is just they did it right. They did it really right. I'm very happy with this one, because King of the Monsters I really loved, but it was still like polarizing. Like people either loved it or hated it. In 2014, everybody hated it. So
Really?
even me,
It was that
I'm
bad?
like, well, it's not that it was bad. It's just that, like you call it a Godzilla movie, but you're only going to put Godzilla on screen for 11 minutes. Might as well be like the first Jaws movie. But like even in Jaws, it was scary. Like dun 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 dun. Like you didn't have to picture. But with Godzilla, you can't do that. You can't just go dun 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 dun, and then like, well, where is he? Like, show me the money, basically.
Show me the money, baby.
Show me the money. Hey, show me the
Right.
money.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up, because I mean we've
Wrap
already
it
been
up.
going for almost an hour now.
Yeah, damn, I could talk about him all day.
I know we'll have to do another episode. We can just have you rant on about like the old movies and such, and we can kind of like talk about that.
I could teach you. You guys would laugh just me telling you the stories of like the plot lines to the old movies. Like they're so contrived, so dumb, so lazy. Like it's just like, okay, all right.
A master class on Godzilla.
Sign up today.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I mean, do we have anything you want to say before we like close this out, or?
It may seem like I've loved Godzilla this entire time more than Kong, and that may be a smidgen true, but I'll always still
Just
like
a
Kong too.
smidgen,
So
just
nobody think I hate Kong or that I don't like him at all. Like he's all legitimately, I like anything with big monsters, giant creatures, and
yeah,
Kong movies usually deliver on that with the whole Skull Island and stuff
yeah.
like that. So I've never not liked Kong.
He
But
may
when it
like
comes to versus somebody, no, I'm gonna pick a side. My
yeah,
boy.
he may like lizard, but he do like monkey. So
I do like Monkey just a little bit.
just a little bit. So I guess we'll just go ahead and wrap this up then. So
Yes.
thank you guys for listening in on the podcast. Be sure to check us out on YouTube at the Delinquents podcast, and on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and pretty much any other type of platform you can think of. We're on it. Be sure to go and check out our Discord and join that. Everyone's very active on there, sort of, not really, but is to be, the goal is to be. So go ahead and join that. We're kind of gaining some people.
You
And
literally just said yes, maybe no in the
yeah,
form of
I
an
know.
answer.
So thank you
Oh,
guys for listening in, and I guess we'll see you guys on the next podcast.
Yeah.
bye.
See ya.